Alright, so this is going to be a continuation of the previous video that is going to be explaining how I made or how I replaced the basic character that was provided inside of Unreal with my own character. Um, Again, I apologize for the movement on the knees. That is just because of the inverse kinematics constraints that I added onto the subject, and I never had the time to clean them up. So what I have to do here, or what I have in here, is just a folder with my materials and a whole folder with my textures, and basically all the information in here I just imported. Again, please refer to the previous video for just checking up what I did with this. But the important part here is I have a jump cycle, and my animation is basically this animation right here. Okay, that is a whole thing that goes 108 frames. So I'm gonna stop this, and I want to show you what Unreal does with their character. So over here I have my mannequin, and under animations I have not only a first-person jump, which is basically this quick movement in 5 frames, but they also have this jump start, which is the character just launching into the air. That is the jump loop, which is the character just falling into the ground. And finally the jump end, which is just the character landing. And that, as you can see, it's pretty much related to this animation that they have over here. So I'm going to close this one, and the important part here is that the animation is actually broken up into 3 parts, because I want to have 3 different states driving this animation, and it's way simpler to just have them on separate animations. So I'm going to go back to my Five Nights at Freddy project, models Freddy, and I want to make a backup of my Freddy jump just in case something goes wrong. So Control W is going to make that happen, and I'm just going to call this jump BK, and then my Freddy jump, I'm gonna call this jump start. So on my Freddy jump start, what I want to have is Freddy basically launching into the air, which is going to happen all the way here. That is going to go from frame 0 to frame 60. Let's do, yeah, 50, 60 is fine. So at this point what I have is I just played from 0 to 60, and I'm going to remove frames from 60. Actually, I want to have it mostly at 60. So remove frame 62 to 110. This is basically going to be my animation. Freddy starts jumping, and he feels like super heavy. That's why he needs to do this sort of movement. And I'm going to save this animation. So this animation I just made out of the other one. Now, my jump start is going to contain also the segment that I want, in which Freddy is just launched into the air. Okay, so that's 0 to frame 60, 61, on 62 onwards I have the other animation. So I'm gonna take my animation BK, Control W, copy that, and this one is going to be my jump end, and I will open this, and I know that I remove from 61 before, so I'm gonna get my playhead to 62. I'm gonna right click and a little less than that, and I'm gonna say remove from frame 0 to 61. That way I know that my Freddy character is already in the air, and it's just going to be falling. Okay, so fall, that seems perfect. Okay, I don't want to have this lag at the end, so I have my animation is somewhat faster. So on frame 44, what I'm going to do is just once again remove 46 to 49. So this is going to be a little bit faster. He lands, and he's just basically like falling. Okay, as you can see on the animation that they do for the mannequin, the loop itself doesn't need to be perfect. See how there's this just hiccup from 0 to 19. It's just like going all the way up once again. So the animation itself doesn't need to be perfect. It's just gonna keep on looping on that part. So that's what I'm going to do as well for my character. So over here I'm going to have my end. So the character is just like falling. And now that I have this, I'm gonna save it. Now that I have this, I will just duplicate this one, and this is going to be my jump loop. So this is what is gonna happen when he stays in the air. I'm gonna open this up, and then he's gonna start falling here. So I'm gonna leave it all the way to 11, and then I'm gonna remove frame 12 onwards. So that is going to be my loop. Okay, maybe a little less. Maybe I want to remove frame 11 as well. So there you go. So that is going to be my loop. It's not a perfect animation. I mean, I didn't plan it to be animation just fit for this Unreal project, but this is going to go well. So I know that I removed from frame 0, or I have from frame 0 to frame 11, and that's what I need to do when I remove on my jump end. So over here, I'm going to move my playhead to, what was it once again, 11? So jump, okay. Oh, that's the whole thing. So jump end, and that is going to be, yeah, here. So I'm gonna open my loop, that is going to 11, and my jump end, that is going to go here. So I'm gonna set off my playhead all the way to 12, and I will remove from 0 to 12. So this is going to be the end of my animation. That is going to be landing. Beautiful. So now I'm gonna save this, and I have these animations. I have my backup just in case I don't like these. I can just go back and tweak them. But I have my jump end. It's just basically landing. I have my jump start, which is going to be launching into the air. I have my loop, which is basically going to be doing this fall. And that's basically it. That's all I need in order to work with this. Now, I don't need to do a blend state for this. This is not going to be driven by some variable based on velocity. So I'm just going to take my animation on Freddy. That's my MVP. And what I want to do is continue working on my default state machine, the one that I just started. My animation graph here is going to be my final pose. My default state machine, I'm going to open this. Now, this time around, what I want to have is 3 separate states that are going to be driving this animation going on a loop. So for that purpose, I'm actually going to base those on the anim graph that I have on this default machine. See, I have my start, my jump end, and my jump loop. I'm just going to move this over my other windows so I can actually see them on my second monitor. That way I'm gonna speed up my process a little bit, but I'm gonna go here to my Freddy BP, and what I need to do is just drag another state coming from this, and this is going to be my add state, and I'm gonna call this jump start, which is going to lead me to the jump loop. So I'm gonna select this, and this new state is going to be my jump loop. Then I'm gonna drag this one down, and this one is going to be a new state, and this state is going to be my jump end. And then last but not least, this is going to get connected to my idle. See, now when I do this, I create these transitions, and in order to be able to go from one state onto the other one, I need to follow a specific rule that I have in between the two of them. So right now I only have a variable that is driving my speed. Let me collapse this for a second. I only have a variable that is driving my speed here. What I want to do is be able to check whether I am already in the air or no. So I'm going to make a new variable, and this is going to be a Boolean type variable. So change this to Boolean, and over here I will call this is in air. I can actually use a question mark that is going to hint me that this is a question. This is something that is going to be helping me drive this animation over here. So I'm gonna compile this, and if I just hit play and do this, nothing is changing because I have nothing that is going to be driving me from this state onto this state. If I go back to my event graph, I'm really not validating anything whatsoever with this variable is in the air. So what I want to do here is get the movement and set this variable. So I'm gonna drag this out, and I want to set this value. So set is in air. I'm gonna break the execution here for a second. This is going to go to my valid, and then from here I'm gonna go and try to do this. Then what I need to do is check whether this object is falling or not. So I'm gonna get my movement component out of my try to get pawn owner. So I'm gonna select, drag this out, and I'm gonna say get movement component. Now the question here is whether this thing is falling or not. So I'm just going to say is falling, which is a function that I have over here. That is going to check my state, and that gets connected to this set in air. So if it's falling, that means that I'm in air. Why do I care about that? Well, it's pretty simple actually. If I'm falling, I don't want to be able to jump over again to go to the next part of the state, if you will. So I'm gonna compile this, and I already have this is in air and everything. Now all of these warnings here are because in my default state machine I don't really have anything that transitions from one state onto the other one. So the first thing is, in order to be able to go from idle run to jump start, I want to double click this, and then if I say can enter transition, automatically is going to go into that transition. So that's not what I want to do. I want to drive this through this variable is in air, get this value. If this is in air, there I can, at that point I can get my transition. So let me save that. And then that is a rule from idle run to jump start. So that is basically it. Now in my jump start, I want to, and if you watch the previous video, you'll see that now my asset browser is a little bit more complete because I have more animations associated with this mesh. So my jump start is basically that jump start that I just created. This is just going to get connected over here. This one, my jump loop, is going to be my character falling, and then my jump end is going to be this character. So once again, am I falling, or actually am I in the air? If I'm in the air, I should be able to go to my jump start. So I'm gonna hit compile and save, and that is going to give me a warning. And then what is this telling me? Jump start to jump loop will be taken. Please do something about it. I need to know if I am able to go into that direction or not. So the next thing that I need to do is actually check if my the remaining ratio of the animation is close to be done. If I'm almost done with that, I'm almost done with the jump start, I can start doing the jump loop. See, my animation falling cannot happen until after I actually finish playing the jump start. So after I set up the animations on each one of these states, and I set up the first rule, I need to select how I'm going to be running from my jump start to my jump loop. And if I double click this and I just say enter transition, I can just automatically go to that transition. But that is not really what I want. What I want to have is when my character starts jumping, I want my character animation to be almost done when that happens. So for that, I need to check the remaining ratio of this asset. For that, I will say time remaining, and that is going to be how much time it's remaining from this animation loop. This one is going to be a ratio, and actually no, my mistake, this is going to be a time remaining, and that is what I want to get the ratio out of this part. So I'm going to get this value, and this is going to be like less than, and this is going to be a float less than a float. Then if that is the case, if I'm almost done with this animation, I have less than 10% of this animation, I can start playing the other one around. So I have no issues with this one. What it's complaining about is going to be my jump end, which is, on the other hand, going to be driven by can I fall, or I'm done falling. So if this variable is in air, get is in air, is not boolean not, then I can enter transition. That means, have you landed? Well, awesome. If you have landed, then you can just totally go to the next animation or the next state, which is going to be my jump end. I want to play this, and I want to play this whole animation before I run into the idle. So what I need to do is basically the same thing that I did on the previous one, and that is just going to be the get the ratio that I have on the remaining time. So this is going to be my time remaining, and that is going to be on my Freddy. And once again, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to say, is it less than 1/10 or 10%? So that is going to be my 0.1. Awesome. So let's compile this once again. I have no issues with this. And let's go to my third person and hit play. So I move around, I jump, and then my animation start playing on the jump cycle. And then I got sort of stuck in here. So jump, and then I do this animation. So I know that this animation is actually pretty slow, depending on, or it's actually waiting for me to start jumping before I actually do the jump. So by the time that I'm done jumping and moving to the ground, he will already jump. So that's something that I can fix really easily. If I go to my jump start, see, I have 60 frames for my character to start jumping. So I'm gonna start just from frame, let's do 48. Before I do that, I'm just going to make a copy of these just to make sure that everything is in place. I'm gonna call this jump start BK. And then my jump start, once again, I want to take out all the first frames. So remove from 0 to 49. And then my animation for jump is going to be this. That animation loop is perfect for some sort of film or something, but take a look at that. All right, and then I landed, and that's perfect. Still, I have some stutter at the end, like I'm jumping and then I'm falling and I'm landing, and then at the end I have that sort of stutter because I'm walking, or I'm moving from this imperfect cycle. But that is generally the idea. I have my character that is moving around, I have this jumping, and then I'm falling into the ground. Okay, it's a little bit complicated when I land. If I keep on moving and land, see how I'm landing and still I'm sort of sliding? That is because I don't have that interpolation, and I can solve that in a different way. But for now, I'm just going to leave it here. This is going to be my Freddy character jumping around and just landing. Now, a really quick fix to that will be make a duplicate of this just to have a backup file. So say BK, and then my animation jump end, I'm gonna short it up. Instead of doing this whole thing, it's just gonna get all the way to 15 maybe. So remove from 16 onwards, and then my landing is just going to be this. So once again, I hit play and I landed, and that's that. So it seems like I have spring here. I need to do something to soften these animations. Basically, I need to just make them go faster and make sure that everything is in place. So my frames don't stutter, but the general idea is that my character can just go around, jump, and interact with the world. Jump here, land, jump, and that is it. Okay, so that is basically it for this video. Thank you very much for staying with me. Maybe in the future I'm gonna do something with the newest features of 4.18. Like the clothes system is really nice. I don't have anything to apply clothes really quickly onto my character. Well, maybe they had, but that is not really how hats behave. So I'm just gonna leave it here, and once again, thank you very much for staying all the way to the end.